What's your favorite book or movie of all time, and why did it speak to you?
Sure. Movie first, Mr. Holland's Opus. Uh, Composer, gonna write music for the rest of his life, becomes a teacher, teaches for the rest of his life, finally finishes it at the end of his career. There's something about that. I think something about the artistic journey. I think for a long time we put a lot of emphasis on getting paid to only do the one thing that you want to do. And I don't know that you're actually passionate about it if you only do it when you're getting paid to do it. And so there's something about that artistic journey. I also love a book called the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, which talks about resistance and the resistance of a creative force, and that you have to overcome that to actually create something. Sure. Well, my name is Brett, and I'm a pastor of Engaged Church, but that's what I do, not necessarily who I am. I am, first and foremost, father, husband, brother, son, all of those things before any job title comes into place. And then I'm just a believer in community and a believer in the power of us working together. And there's something that incredible that happens when people get together. And so I feel like it's part of my life mission to bring people together, and then to help you get over the hump to discover your dreams and actually do something with it. I think a lot of us stumble out of the gate and we just never make it to starting. We've got a lot of ideas. And so part of who I am is helping people unlock that thing. And so it's like, oh, is that who you are? Is that what you do again? No, it's all of the above. And I'm hardwired that way. I'm hardwired as a starter. I love to start things. I love to be in the beginning phases, startup phases of things. And sometimes it's the hardest part for people. And so I've realized that that's who I am. I'm just made that way, hardwired that way, so I can help people get over that hump.
That's cool. I like that. Now I know why Ben told us to talk to you. Okay. What did you want to be growing up?
What didn't I want to be when I was growing up? I think, if you had to ask me what I wanted to be, it started when I was really young. I can remember grade 2 when you do this, and I don't really know why we ask kids in grade 2 about what they want to be when they grow up. I just did what I had to draw a picture of what I wanted to be, and so my dad was an accountant, so I was like, I guess I'll be an accountant. So to me, that looked like somebody at a desk doing math, even though I hated math, but that's what I drew, and it is what it is. And then it kind of shifts throughout the years. Little known fact, maybe some people, I was in a band and I toured for a number of years. I did that. But I am kind of one of the weird people on the face of the earth who always had a deep sense of knowing what I was supposed to do since I was 2 years old. I knew what I was going to do. I knew what I was supposed to do. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't fight it and try and do other things. It just kept coming back around. So you can put lawyer on that list. Musician was definitely on that list. Entrepreneurs on that list. But it all kind of came back around to what I do now. Graduating high school, I went right into Bible college. So I was in the band at that time doing all the music stuff, and I actually had a music major in my degree. So I went through, but luckily my degree and my career path were on the same trajectory in terms of my education. So because I went to a Bible college, I could do both. And then I got out and I started working at a church right away. I got hired out of my third year, so I actually finished my fourth year remotely. I didn't know. See, this is the difference between you come up with a plan and you think it's your idea, and then understanding that there's a bigger plan for your life. My plan was always to do fourth year remote. I had already done all the research to do that, so I could go make an album, tour, do all those things, which I did end up doing, going to Nashville, which was great. But out of nowhere, I got this job offer to come work at a church, and I, of course, said no. And then my mom's like, hey, do you want to pray about that maybe. I'm like, that probably sounds like a good idea. So I did that, and I knew right away that it was a place where you're supposed to be. So it was already lined up that my school was already ready for me to be able to step into career right away. Was there for 4.5 years, and I started a church on the south side of Edmonton, was there for 2 years, and then my wife and I moved out here. We knew 2 people, and we started Engaged Church here in Spruce Grove. Somebody once asked me, if you had $1 million or a couple million, because $1 million is probably not enough, if you had a couple $1 million and you could do whatever you want in your life, what would you do? And I wouldn't do anything different. I might, live in a different house or drive another car, but I wouldn't do anything different. Being able to know that every single day when I get up, it's going to be a little bit different. No 2 days are the same. I mean, I'm doing this here with you today, and that's a great afternoon. So I love the diversity in things, but the underlying theme of my job is helping people and seeing lives transformed. So every time I hear those stories, it just keeps you going. Work-life balance in pastoral ministry is not a thing. I don't believe in work-life balance. And that sounds unhealthy, and it probably is on some level. I would probably fall in the category of workaholic, which I think any entrepreneurial startup type of person is. It's an all-encompassing thing. But we made a choice that we wanted our family to be in this. So we do things together, and we do everything together, and we find balance in the moments that we have. We maximize or do our best to maximize the moments that we do have, and try and do as many things we can together. My kids love it. They, we don't want it to be a chore, and we've been very intentional about, I'm not, if I got to go to a meeting, you could say that as, okay, I got to, Dad's got to go to work, or, it's not like that. Hey, Dad's just going to go connect with some people, and I'll be back. And my kids love it when we have people over the house. So, I think that's an area we can always get better in, and there's no perfect answer. But I think understanding seasons is very important. That there's an ebb and a flow. There's busy seasons. There's slow seasons. If you can maximize your down season, that prepares you and gives you a little grace in your busy season. And as long as you can understand the rhythm and kind of find rhythm that works for your family, then I think you'll find a balance. But the idea of, for me, it's not a reality to work 9 to 5 and that work stops at 5. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't reappear on the weekends. One of my busiest days is on the weekends. So that's not necessarily a reality, but just understanding, like I said, the ebb and the flow. And again, it's changing now. It was easier for us when the kids were not in school, because we could just pick other days that were our days. Now we have to be more intentional about the days that we have. So intention and understanding seasons, I think, helps towards balance. So I should probably say I actually love failing, because I don't maybe necessarily view failure as other people would view failure. I'm a big believer in failing forward. So I fail all the time. I fail on a regular basis. It's hard for me to pick one because I do it so regularly. But failure happens when you try things, and then I think failure has a negative connotation for a lot of people. You're just proving a theory, and you're testing something out. I think the thing that I'm always trying to get on top of is my health, and I sometimes, just like anybody else, you got great seasons where you do it really well, and then there's other seasons where you just kind of fall off the bandwagon because everything else kind of runs way on you. So I would say that's probably what it is. But yeah, my biggest perspective on failure is that we all probably need to fail more, and we'd probably get further faster if we failed more. I think, I just encourage everyone to probably dream a little bit bigger, think a little bit bigger, understand that failure is not the end, it's actually a beginning, that you're really just planting a seed, and you learn a lot from that, and you learn in those processes, and that if you try some things and you experiment a little bit, that even if it is a little bit painful or a little bit embarrassing, that it's worth it for that learning and for that knowledge, and take that next step forward and apply it. And what you'll find is you might try it and fail in one area, and you'll have that knowledge, and then you go do something completely unrelated, and you're like, oh, hold on, I know all about this, because I think it's a lot more powerful. I think we spend a lot of time learning what to do, And I wonder if we spent more time focusing on what not to do and learning from our negative experiences. We do everything that we can to run from our negative experience and put it behind us. But what if you could just stop for a moment, understand, obviously if it's unhealthy and it's harmful, get out. But sometimes you're just in the midst of a situation and it's like, wow, everything within you wants to run away. I wonder if we just paused and took a moment to survey the landscape and be like, oh, you know what? I can learn a lot right here. I can learn don't do this. Don't handle people this way. Don't treat someone like this. That's not good customer service if it's a business context. We just want to attack those things. But what if you just stood back and was like, oh, I can learn way more. Because if you go somewhere successful, you're trying to rip apart all the successful pieces and reverse engineer something. But if you're going somewhere and you step into a negative experience, you're like, oh, it's a lot easier to identify some of the pitfalls. So that's actually some low-hanging fruit right there. Is like, wow, I can change and make some changes in what I'm doing by observing what somebody else isn't doing well and put that into direct practice because it's easier to adapt. Sometimes you can feel trapped in a negative situation. And it's not even like negative, unhealthy. It's just doesn't feel like forward motion. So instead of feeling stuck, you can maybe understand that there's a timing piece at play here in your life, in the grand scheme of your life. So you might as well learn as much as you can in that season. And that's my dad drilled that into me from a young age. You know what? It's better to learn what not to do sometimes than it is to learn what to do. I would love to say to anyone who's struggling, you're trying to figure out, how do I start? How do I move forward? How do I even get some forward motion? I think you already know the answer, and you said it in your question is start. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have the whole game plan, but you do need to do something. And the longer you wait, probably the longer you're going to the longer you wait, the more that you'll realize that you're just letting it slip away from you. Because there is a timing thing. There's a reason why you're passionate about it now. There's a reason why you're excited about it now. There's a reason why you know the people that you know right now. And it's probably because you're supposed to do something now. So if you're having trouble starting, it's probably a confidence issue. So find 2 or 3 people who can support you and want to come along on the ride with you. But then just start it. And I think we're afraid to start, not because we're afraid of success, but because we're afraid of failure. Understand that you're going to learn something if you're failing. And then I think the reverse is true. Sometimes we are afraid of success. Oh, well, if I do this, I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of my life. Well, it's so amazing that you think that this idea is going to carry you for the rest of your life. But reality is it's probably just a season and it's there for your learning. So just go and do it. Just start. Thank you.